Member for Toronto Danforth.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, my question to the acting Premier: does the Premier's government accept the independent FAO report that cancelling cap and trade will cost more than $3 billion over the next 4 years?
Minister of Finance.
Minister of the Environment.
Minister of the Environment, Conservation and Parks.
Mr. Speaker, and through you, I thank the member from Davenport for the question. Yes, because when we say cost $3 billion, that's $3 billion back in the pockets of Ontario taxpayers. Mr. Speaker, the FAO report, and I appreciate the chance to speak to it, on page 10 confirms that the elimination of cap and trade will save taxpayers $1.3 billion this year alone, and confirms $264 per year per family. Mr. Speaker, also on page 12, the report confirms our $5 million in terms of a compensation framework. So yes, Mr. Speaker, to the member, we are putting money back in the pockets of taxpayers. That is going to be over $3 billion at the end of the day. Thank you.
Supplementary.
The FAO reports that $3 billion could be only the beginning. Although the Premier made it illegal for anyone to sue the government in Ontario, which is a pretty extraordinary step right there, they could still face lawsuits from other countries. How much does the government expect to pay for international lawsuits?
Minister.
Mr. Speaker, through you to the member, as I mentioned, the FAO identified that the compensation framework, which is the basis for the lawsuits that the member is speaking of, has in fact been confirmed at $5 million. Now, that you'll recall during the election, there was a lot of hyperbole, a lot of talk about $3 billion, $4 billion. In fact, the detailed analysis, which we thank him for, points out that $5 million is the expected compensation. That's the amount that we put forward. We committed to the orderly wind-down of this program that was killing jobs, that was regressive, and we will follow that through. It's a promise we made. It's a promise we'll keep.
Final supplementary.
I'm sure he read a different report. Again, back to the minister. People are learning that the Premier's snap decision to cancel cap and trade will cost Ontario families and businesses $3 billion. Did the Premier's office do any due diligence, do any assessment of these costs, or figure out what their ideological plan would actually cost the people of Ontario before they ended the cap and trade market?
Minister.
Mr. Speaker, and I would recommend that everyone, particularly in this legislature, read the report. The mistake that sometimes the members opposite make is thinking that money for government grows on trees. Money for government comes from people. When we made it a commitment about affordability to the people of Ontario, we made it knowing that that meant that we were going to reduce revenues for government. We were reducing revenues for a program that wasn't working, a regressive, job-killing tax. $264 per family is confirmed in this report today. Yes, that means less money for government. That's more money for families. We'll talk about that all day.